The water that the Navy's concerned about is what we talked about earlier, the disruption of that bulge at the equator, which would not inundate all areas. It would inundate areas close to the existing oceans, up to about 400 feet above sea level. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Romans, what's your question for John?
John, rumor has it that the Astro Patriot is being harassed because he may have uncovered that the information on the comet Elenin is a cover for the brown dwarf. What do you think of the theory that Planet X, Destroyer, Wormwood, etc., is being covered up as the comet Elenin? And we were wondering what you thought about that.
Okay, well, I'm not familiar with this person, Astro Patriot, so I can't even comment on that. A lot of people are paying attention to Elenin. It's not real high on my list of things to do. The first three letters of the word are kind of interesting, though, E-L-E, which could have another meaning, extension level event. I don't believe it's Wormwood or Planet X or the Destroyer. That's my personal belief. I don't believe it's time for that to be on the table yet. I do have private sources telling me that amateur astronomers may be seeing it as soon as this coming summer in the southern hemisphere. They can't see it yet, and that this coming fall we could have very severe consequences from the 10th planet, Destroyer Wormwood, getting deeper into our solar system. I don't talk about this a whole lot publicly. It's too close to naming dates, and I don't like to name dates until I've got even firmer information. The only real date I had that was firm was December 31st, 2009, the date the government gave themselves to get their main preparations complete. And of course, that date's come and gone, and they continue to make their preparations. The majority of what they did was in the 80s and early to mid-90s in terms of building massive structures and really big, expensive infrastructure. That's all done and well complete for many years. So I don't know what else to tell you, sir. The Elenin, we're watching it. I don't believe it is a 10th planet.
Okay, well, I sure appreciate your thoughts on that.
Diane, you have a question for John.
Yes, I do. While there's much discussion about December 2012, there are people, including Patrick Gerrell, who we interviewed a wee while ago, saying October this year could be a serious time based on the Mayan numbers as far as sunspots go. And is there any indication that the sun could cause serious disruption before 2012?
Well, the whole December 21st, 2012 thing is disinformation, in my opinion. The film 2012 was a multi-million-dollar Hollywood production. Some of the websites devoted to 2012, you look at them, they look like something IBM or Bill Gates would create. You look at mine, it's obviously, it's nice, but it doesn't look like something Bill Gates or IBM would create. That date's too far into the future. The fall of this year, 2011, we certainly are at risk. I have private sources telling me that we're at risk in the fall of 2011.
Thank you about that.
And the year 2012 doesn't exist in the Mayan calendar. That's our calendar, the Georgian calendar. The Georgian calendar has the year 2012. The Mayan calendar does not. You have to be able to reconcile the calendar before you can make any sense of Velikowski that with each other of itself. Elders, I'm in close to Western Cherokee, and apparently native peoples have similar prophecies similar to the Hopis. And the Hopi prophecies by themselves are scary enough. They don't give a date, though. They give a time frame, and in fact, 3 or 4 Hopi elders went to the United Nations in the early 1950s to warn the planet, and they were received and treated with respect, but basically nobody paid attention to them. That was, 60 years ago.
I remember reading about that. Well, thank you very much. That's very an interesting perspective. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jemdi, can you ask your question, please?
Yeah, hi, John. Are the sun's magnetic poles in the process of shifting?
I have no information on that, my dear. I really don't. Our poles, there's been a lot of attention. The Tampa airport closed for a few days, about a month ago, to repaint the numbers. And people, I can't tell you how many phone calls and emails I got because of it. And what I got to tell these people is, you're not around aviation very much. Anybody and everybody around aviation the past 20 years knows that the Federal Aviation Administration has had to order the repainting of numbers on runways all over the United States because of the shift in magnetic north. That's not news. What happened in Florida became news for reasons I don't quite understand, but for people in aviation, it's a no big deal. The magnetic north has been shifting and shifting dramatically for decades. That news story out of Florida became news, but it wasn't news to anybody in aviation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Big Medicine, can you ask your question of John?
Yes, John, I know you're a James Bond fan, so this has a little bit to do with that. Gary McKinnon, the British hacker, hacked into a lot of U.S. Navy and NASA computers a few years back and saw a lot of evidence that points to a secret space program. He saw listings for ships that are not registered, non-terrestrial officers. Does the secret space program, in your knowledge, does that play into some sort of moonraker scenario of the elite trying to get off the planet?
Well, I don't believe the elite have any plans of leaving the planet. I've seen no evidence of that. The space shuttle is big enough to put a school bus inside the cargo hold. It's huge. And they've been carrying up these large, heavy cargoes for what, not quite 30 years? You can haul a lot of stuff in that period of time. NASA, of course, is the military. They take along some school teachers and scientists occasionally, but it's the military. And the military by nature is secret about their doings. Dr. Deagle, who I co-host his third hour every Friday, he talks a lot about the weapons we've got, space-based weapons, that can take out the Russians or Chinese anytime we choose to. I've heard from private sources that we do have some really powerful weapons, space-based weapons. As far as unregistered ships and so forth, well, that would be part of keeping secrets, wouldn't it? I'm not sure what a non-terrestrial officer is. What is a non-terrestrial officer?
I guess somebody is assigned to a ship not on this planet. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Gary McKinnon case. The United States really wants to extradite him here and try him, and they're trying to keep him in England. Supposedly he saw a lot of stuff.
Well, who's trying to keep him in England?
His attorneys, a lot of private sector folks are trying to keep him there so he doesn't get extradited.
Okay. I'm not familiar with the story now. It sounds like a fascinating story. So he hacked into some Department of Defense computers and released the stuff publicly?
He didn't actually release much publicly. He gave some interviews because he got busted, and they really came after him. And he didn't actually even cause any damage. He found computers that just happened to be open and snooped in there looking for free energy and aliens and all that stuff. And he found who knows what he hasn't. I'm sure he hasn't said everything that he saw, just to be on the safe side. But he did see a lot of evidence pointing to a definite secret space program. I really appreciate your.
He's under arrest right now in England, being held by British authorities.
He's under house arrest in England.
House arrest. Well, that's kind of like arrest, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're going to be arrested, it's best to be in your own house, right?
Yeah, I would. That's where I would like to be.
You can get a pizza delivered and you can take a hot bath and not be disturbed. Yeah. Okay. Well,
thank you, John.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Diane B., you have a question.
Yeah, just a quick one, thanks. Can you make some comments on preparing underground to survive sunspot activity? I guess I can add in there now nuclear possibilities and a possible hit by Planet X or Nibiru.
Okay.
I know you sort of covered a bit of this before, but yeah.
Right, Diane. the preoccupation of the government and Fortune 500 companies with underground facilities didn't make much sense to me until really when I started talking to Major Ed Dames, the remote viewer, and coming to understand the true nature of a coronal mass ejection and how bad it can be. It would create surface temperatures of about 140 degrees for anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. The radiation could go on for days, if not weeks. Very severe radiation that can cause cancer and all kinds of very serious problems for people. With that in mind, I can see why the powers that be, these governments and Fortune 500 companies, would want steel-reinforced concrete structures underground for protection from those events. Now, in addition, of course, there's 200-mile-an-hour winds and the deluges of rain. When we go through the tail, Planet X will probably have a tail like a comet. We'll probably get smacked with literally millions of barrels of oil, a deluge of water. These comet tails are known to have both, and there's certainly a lot of evidence of that having happened in the past. So a steel-reinforced concrete structure underground starts making a lot of sense once you look at all the effects.
Yeah. Do we have any idea of the depth? How deep you'd need to go?
Well,
just the average person, if they wanted to go under for protection.
Once you've got 3 feet of earth, you're pretty much set against the heat. As far as radiation, I'm not sure how bad the radiation could get. If you want complete protection from a nuclear event, a man-made nuclear event, you'd want 10 feet of earth to be really, really safe. And I would hope 10 feet of earth would be more than enough to deal with a coronal mass ejection and the radiation from that kind of event. A natural cave would be good. A building with a steel roof to reflect the radiation and help you deal with the heat, that would be good as well. Underground structure with at least 3 feet of earth would be a real nice thing to have.
Indeed it would. Thank you very much, John.
You're welcome.
Jemdi, do you have a question for John?
Yeah, hi John again. I heard you talk about this on your 2008 video, but you didn't really go into much detail about it. And that is, how does Armageddon, do you feel ties in with Planet X?
Explain. Armageddon, of course, is a plan in Israel with a
the Bible version of Jesus' return.
Okay. Usually when people talk about Armageddon, they talk about the final battle on the plains of Armageddon, which probably would be a place where a final battle could take place. You're not referring to that, you're talking about the return of our Lord Jesus?
Right, that's what I'm referring to, right.
Okay, well, I usually defer the theological things to people more qualified than myself. I am a believer. I love and trust my Lord on one hand. On the other, I'm no Bible scholar and really don't feel qualified to comment too much on that. I do know that the powers that be want to complete their work before these events stop them also. When these oceans start coming out of their basins, we have 200-mile-an-hour winds and even more severe earthquakes and volcanoes than we've got at the moment, they will be shut down also. They want they want to have their shiny new world order all complete and ready to go before these events shut them down also.